Bulvinaka, very good evening to you and namaskar. Welcome to Current Affairs on My TV. I'm Tukini and it's so great to have you join us on the show. What a week it has been since we last talked to you. Fiji has done itself and all of us proud over at the Rugby World Cup 2023 in France. We'd like to thank our Fiji Water Flying Fijians for putting us right up there at the main table with the big boys, the Tier 1 nations. We being the only Tier 2 nations that made it through to the quarterfinals, a game that easily was ours. And the new buzz phrase of the Rugby World Cup 23 is subconscious bias. Subconscious bias is when you have some sort of an inclination that is already there, lodged in your subconscious, that tends to affect the way you make your judgments. And this has been something that the global media has come up with, mentioning how Fiji and other Pacific Island nations have suffered from what has been described as subconscious bias of referees and TMOs and MOs over at the Rugby World Cup 23. That's what they're saying in the media. That's not me. But what I'm telling you now is that we're so very proud of you, our Flying Fijian Fiji Water, Flying Fijian boys, as they bid farewell in Paris, thanking, of course, all of their liaison officers, their team that looked after them while they were in Paris, and this is them farewelling at the airport in France, our Fiji Water Flying Fijians team. And these are, of course, the final shots as we bring you some memories from the Rugby World Cup 23. We say merci beaucoup to France, who have made us the second most popular team of the tournament, because we have the entire French nation backing Fiji. Of course, the most popular team is the home side, France, who obviously had to bow out, sadly, to South Africa. You have put us at the main table of 8 as equals with the Tier 1 nations. We want to say Naka Sakabaka Lebu to our boys who won our hearts, and the Fijians who are all over the world that have been magnified and admired because of you. And we thank you for your efforts to Simon Rewalui and the team. As we say in my business, now on with the show. Sad news Simon, of course, has officially declared that he is not going to be seeking another term of national coach. He finishes on December 31st. As we salute you, Simon, you are such an exemplary role model as coach, and of course a great leader and a person of high quality and standards that we have come to appreciate as the man in charge of the Flying Fijians. And of course, we've got so much work to do at Rugby House, eh? We've got to bring the clean in and get some fresh new minds in that can market the heck out of Fiji rugby while the iron is hot. We've got a strike right now, eh? And Fiji rugby, already we have Fiji Water on as a sponsor, and we're hoping that they can double. Did you know that Fiji Rugby has sponsored to the tune of $40 million? We think we can double that. In fact, we should be going after games with Tier 1 nations that's at least in the Southern Hemisphere. Can we be part of a 4-nations tour? With the Argentinian Pumas, with the New Zealand All Blacks, with the Australian Wallabies, and with the South African Springboks. How about having our own Fiji Water Flying Fijians team there? More exposure to Tier 1 nations games. That's the only thing we're asking for, not only for Fiji, but for Samoa, Tonga, and all other Tier 2 nations. All right, we have found that the ratings have come in, the world rankings. They put us at number 10. I can't believe that. And we were part of the last 8. I don't know how these Northern Hemisphere rankings actually work and how do they go about it. I'm not even one interested in getting into it, but I just cannot believe we're sitting at number 10 after a great performance at the Rugby World Cup 2023. Okay. Our boys come in tomorrow, so we suggest here on Current Affairs that we keep flying the flag, and let's give a big warm welcome to our Fijian, Flying Fijians there, of course, and thank you to Fiji Water for your sponsorship. Fly your flag. Our boys arrive in tomorrow. Let's give them a very big, warm-hearted Fijian welcome for doing us proud at the Rugby World Cup. I'll be back with more after this. And now a little into politics here on Current Affairs as we talk about the controversial appointment of the Attorney General by the Prime Minister of the coalition government, a move that has, of course, met with a lot of opposition. The coalition partner, SODELPA's General Secretary, talked to the media, and in this case to Fiji Village, where he showed his disappointment in their not being consulted. There was no consultations with regards to cabinet reshuffles made by the coalition partners that involved the SODELPA ministers. And with the Attorney General's case, he said that we cannot have a government making a decision, or Prime Minister, in this case Prime Minister Rambuk, making a decision which goes against the Constitution because of the an act in the Constitution that will be trespassed by this appointment of Attorney General Vosarongo, who has, by the way, accepted his appointment. And the Fiji Law Society have spoken out against it, saying that they will take this appointment to court. So it looks like exciting times ahead. Here are pictures of Chone Usamate from his own upload on Facebook, telling his story of his ride on the public bus to where he stays up in Colombo, somewhere in the Subanosori corridor. Pictures of him also mentioning how we've probably all put on a bit of weight, because now a seat of 2 can only seat 1.5, himself included. Thank you, sir, for taking the public bus ride. The review of the Itoke Land and Fisheries Commission, widely known as the Veitarongi Vanua. This is among the major submissions that has been received by the Great Council of Chiefs Review Committee. One of the major roles of the Veitarongi Vanua under the Ministry of Itoke Affairs is to look after the records and the rightful title holders of chiefs and the welfare of indigenous Fijians. The Itoke Lands and Fisheries Commission is a statutory body constituted under the Itoke Lands Act 1905 and the Fisheries Act that was enacted in 1941 to adjudicate on disputes regarding land ownership, fishing rights, and customary chiefly positions. The Commission is the custodian of various significant registers for the Itoke, and which are maintained and updated from time to time. Now, these registers contain some records that facilitate the resolution of disputes. The most significant of these registers is the Native Register of Land, also known as the Volani Kawambula. Now, Review Committee Chair Dr. Choni Mbalondrokodroko says this will be one of the major items on the agenda after the public consultations, of course, that has already taken place, and it's gone to other Fiji communities around the world also. Now, I joined Kelevi Dhuruki. He is the manager of Vanua and also the Turangani Veitarongi Vanua, or commissioner of the Veitarongi Vanua, in his trip down with a team from the Itoke Lands and Fisheries Commission to the district of Toka Toka in southern Tailevu. This is at the border of the provinces of Tailevu and Rewa. And there they went through to all the tribes and the clans in the Toka Toka, which constitutes of the villages of Nambitu, Lomainasau, Vuthi, Vanuandina, along with Nakaile and Robuta and Vanualevu. Now, these villages were found to have no registered heads of Matangalis or even heads of Yavusas or tribes or even heads of Vanuas registered. So that's why Mr. Kelevi Dhuruki, the commissioner of the Veitarongi Vanua, took his team down to Toka Toka, and we traveled there and did some coverage. We interviewed him in the Valeni Vanua, or the hall at Nambitu village in Toka Toka, Tailevu.
I'm Kelevi Dhuruki of the Itoke Lands and Fisheries Commission, and we are visiting the Cama of just bringing the office of the Itoke Lands and Fisheries Commission to the Mono of Toka. The main objective of visiting the district of Toka is basically because of the numbers of the customary titles. Most of the customary titles in the province of Thailand, the vacant one, is with the king of Toka Toka. That's why we chose the king of Toka Toka. And I can confirm that most of the vacant positions have been filled. From the first village and now the second last village, which is the chiefly village in the Tigin of Toka Toka, Tumanona Diru. The only positions that we cannot deal with is those that are not in the village. None of the members are in the village. But for the other Matangali and the Yavusa that are in the villages, that are members in the village, we managed to get the consent of the Matangali and the Yavusa, and we will register.
Very briefly, what is the importance of doing this? Why do this at all?
Thank you. The Fijian chiefs and most of the current generation is the black and white. Everything is on paper. And most of the time, the Itoke Lands and Fisheries Commission have voiced this during the Provincial Council meeting, some of the Tukini meetings that we managed to attend, that we need to fill those vacant customary titles. And most of these vacant positions are filled in the one more concept. But we let the people, and we get the consent and register. That's why we choose this
Okay.
register the vacant position.
Well, can this in any way assist with the Vanua in the way they operate as a Vanua? How would it assist?
In this kind of celebration, it's important for the leaders to be registered, to be recognized
I see.
in the current generation. Those generations that it just know who's the leader without any registration.
I see.
But with the generation, we believe that it's very important to register them so that they know for the future generation to
Okay, sorry. All right.
who are the leaders for this matter so one can know who are the leaders. And for them to do their task,
Okay.
they will be bold enough to do their task
Okay.
when they are registered.
So what is the breakdown also? Does it tied in also with how Yabusa tribal leaders get us some sort of allocation from government? Is that all part and parcel of this operation? Monetary allocation as per...
We were doing it a few years.
Yes.
This monetary allocation is just enforced by this current government, the policy government. It's also an important component of this task to register those Puraneus, the head of the tribes.
Okay.
Register them so that they can get their allocations from the government.
It is to assist them in their role as Turania Vusas.
The allocation, the current coalition government enforced this program to assist them in for their role.
For their role. Domnul ni wasa baka viti birna boni bono si beri bakandi takina nodra liu ni matangali si liu ni amusa.
Sana tapi kena nonton yang dalam ukuran bola tiga minggu itu mau masuk ngaji na nonton bola yang sana narawan itu ukuran matangali ukuran yang besar ukuran yang lalu tuh yang bola tiga minggu kawan itu ukuran paleta endo kira nabi lusa ki ko mana terang mono mo sa do mo ka ko mono bola bol kali bola mo sa do mo sa do lusi ido dia bisa na tuh sa sa kali sa do mo na mo tingin ko to na sana merah foto ni mai nabi ko kali marau nabi puro gitu sama nang talang bawah dari nakasar itu kayak bona itu mengenai sewa puro sini kira mau nanti wali nama kona yang itu waktu kena nomor berapa nanti kartu tahu kena mana turun makan kurang dia dan mau sekarang nggak minta gitu saya sih bisa aku nama masuk masuk ke badan kalau udah mau sudah waktu di rumah dan dan sengaja
That's the commissioner of the Veitarungi Vanua, Mr. Kelevi Dhuruki, who's also manager lands at the Itoke Lands and Fisheries Commission. His team has been working in Toka district in Tailevu, and they have managed to fill all the Matangali heads and the Vusa heads positions, while the only remaining is that of the head of the leading Matangali, Vunisalato, in Naderuku. The members of that Matangali are still in talks as we go to air this evening. Welcome back to Current Affairs. I'm Tukini. Thank you for joining us, sir. The Synod on Synodality is a coming together, bringing the church and the people of God closer together under a leader who, according to a representative from the Oceania region, Susan Sella of Fiji, is a pope who stands for humanity and is ready to listen to the world, especially the marginalized, the minority, and the outcast, the neglected, the judged, the poor, the sick, and the dying. I shall read you His Holiness's message where Pope Francis said, "You can be flawed, anxious, and sometimes irritated, but don't forget that your life is the greatest company in the world. Only you can prevent her from going into decline. There are many who appreciate, admire, and love you. And you don't know, but there are people for whom you are special. I would like you to remember that being happy is not having a sky without storms or a road without accidents, work without fatigue, personal relationships without disappointments. To be happy is to find strength in forgiveness, to find hope in battles, security in the box of fear, love in disagreements. Being happy is not only to value the smile, but also to reflect on sadness."
Ringrazio di aiutare tutti noi in questa pausa della Chiesa. La Chiesa si è fermata, come sono fermati gli Apostoli dopo Venerdì Santo, quel Sabato Santo, chiusi, ma quelli per paura, noi no, ma è ferma. È una pausa di tutta la Chiesa in ascolto.
It is not just commemorating successes, but learning lessons from failure. It is not just having joy with the applause, but having joy in anonymity. Being happy is recognizing that life is worth living despite all the challenges, sadness, the misunderstandings, and periods of emotional and economic crisis. Being happy is not a fate of destiny, but a conquest for those who know how to travel within their own feelings, within their own being. To be happy is to stop being a victim of problems and become an actor in your own story. It is crossing deserts outside of oneself, but being able to find an oasis in the depths of our soul. It is thanking God every morning for the miracle of life. Being happy is not being afraid of your own feelings. It is knowing how to talk about yourself. It is having the courage to hear a no, even from those you love. It is having security to receive criticism, even if it is unfair. It is kissing the children, pampering the parents, having poetic moments with friends, even if they hurt us. To be happy is to let live the free, happy, and simple creature that lives within each and every one of us. It is having maturity to say, "I was wrong." It is having the audacity to say, "Forgive me." It is having sensitivity to express, "I need you." It is having the ability to say, "I love you." And may your life become a garden of opportunity to be happy. May you be a friend of wisdom and peace in your winters. And when you make a mistake along the way, you start all over again. Well, then, you'll be more passionate about life. And you will discover that being happy is not having a perfect life, but to use the tears to water the tolerance. Use the losses to refine the patience. Use failures to sculpt serenity. Use pain, lapping pleasure. Use obstacles to open windows of intelligence. Never give up. Never give up on the people you love. Never give up on being happy, because life is an unmissable show. Pope Francis summons everyone, no matter where he is, or creed, or religion, to a moment of recollection, meditation, or prayer for peace. The whole planet united in prayer for peace. And on that note, we call an end to our show here on Current Affairs. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're living in the Nandi area, in the western side, Ngaselevu Atu Vulaono will be out there with the New Methodist team on a crusade. They'll be in Uto village and also up in the Nausori Highlands. So for me and the whole team here on Current Affairs, thanks for joining us. Have a good evening. Morning.